And welcome, folks, to episode 33 of the Ministry of Dice podcast. We're a UK-based podcast talking all things Dice Masters in the United Kingdom. I'm Chris, otherwise known online as Rick Moranis, and with me today I have Andy.
Andy, a.k.a. Kevin McAllister.
I didn't tell him I was going to do that. So here's a funny story for the listeners, getting straight into it. On Facebook the other day, the price of celebrity internet fame, somebody popped one of those, what are they called, those weird little pictures with where they type the message in it that people seem to be doing now.
What, memes?
Is it a meme? Anyway, whatever it's called.
Oh no, it's just a comment. They just put a coloured background on it.
And they said, so true, Mr. Six, and then was just asking for some clarification of a thing about the Kree invasion pack or something. So there was a bit of confusion. We thought that it was addressed to me, the true Mr. Six, didn't we?
We did.
And so we just flew into usual irreverent, knob-headed Ministry of Dice mode, making stupid jokes, and a couple of guys out there, a few of you listeners who were in on the jokes that we were making, got involved. What we soon realised, though, was that the two guys posting on Facebook weren't addressing me as the true Mr. Six. They somehow happened across the fake card I'd made that's on the blog, the true Mr. Six card that says it gives +6/+6 and all the keywords to Vixen. And we're asking for a rules clarification on my random fake card. It was the weirdest thing in the world ever. So, yeah, apologies to, I forget their names now, was it James and Rick, the two individuals who were clearly not listeners and didn't understand some of the in-joke banter that was going on amongst us and some of the other listeners. I think we cleared it up. I think we cleared it up with him in the end, but it was a very unusual experience for a few minutes there online. Just goes to show the internet's a strange place.
I had to backtrack because I said that you were actually Rick Moranis, and you went by True Mr. Six as your alter ego because you were shy of your 80s movie fame. And I wasn't really expecting someone to believe me, but they did, and I had to backtrack pretty fast to stop myself from looking like a knobhead, as you put it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try not to. I think I've probably failed, but there we go.
Well, we hope that Rick and James, that you didn't take any offence. It was absolutely non-intended. You clearly don't listen to it, so you may never hear this apology.
They don't hear it. Yeah, they don't listen.
Yeah, but it was quite. Once we'd had that moment's realisation that somebody was looking at the text on the fake made-up card that's on the Brit Roller 6 blog, it was like, oh, they're actually. It's not addressed to me as true Mr. Six. You're quoting the title of the fake card. It was It was an unusual experience. So there's a thing that happened to the Ministry of Dice this last 2 weeks. Yeah. Otherwise, though, mate, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah? Very well. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm okay. Thanks, my man. I'm okay. So, in your world of gaming, what have you been up to since we last recorded?
I got a little bit in there. We played a couple of games we did Modern, didn't we, to get you prepped up ready for what I'm sure you'll be talking about in a minute.
Yes.
Which was fun. Realised that I'm a little bit out of sync with Modern. Slipped a little bit into Golden Escalation and the reliance on some of the older, better cards. And going back to Modern, a bit rubbish, to put it mildly. So that was a bit of an eye-opener. That was quite fun. I met up with a gaming group this past Friday. I was a little bit late to get involved in the gaming, though I have since enrolled, and it's a game called Shadow of Brimstone, which is quite a cool kind of board game RPG style dungeon crawler, which they have had going for a while. And I've entered in as a bandito, which has got lots of dynamite that can throw around. So quite looking forward to meeting up with them next time and getting involved in that. That's quite exciting. It's very, I don't know if you've played it, but Mansions of Madness is very similar to that, but with lots of cards instead of an app.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah, very good. Sounds good. Yeah.
So kind of yeah, hung out with them and
Some new gaming friends.
I know, which is very exciting.
Very exciting for realsies, real life friends.
Real people, I know.
Yeah.
Or are they? Or am I just making it all up? Yes, that was quite cool. Other than that, not really that much at all. Been a bit boring. I'm home alone these next few days. It's my Kevin McAllister reference because the family on half term have gone off on holiday.
Yeah.
So I can be super loud in the house and no one will care.
Is the dog with you?
Yeah, dog's asleep in the lounge.
So the dog might care.
Dog's louder than me.
Fair enough.
How about you?
Yes, okay. Well, so I've not played anything outside of Dice Masters this last 2 weeks. So usual get-together down at Element Games. We played Modern at the week before last's get-together, and then last night we played Single Affiliation. And then over the weekend I was at Fanboy 3 in Manchester where we had a Modern event, and that's what I was practicing for that you just referenced there. So for the Modern, I was playing a bit of an X-Men themed kind of thing built around the Sidekick Jubilee and the Global Ping Boom Boom was what I was playing. So
cheesy.
Sorry?
Cheesy.
Yeah, it is pretty cheesy, although not cheesy enough apparently. So and then I had a pivot point in there using the Blackbird action that makes X-Men characters unblockable. So I had the Wolverine, the promo Wolverine that discounts fielding costs. Used a bit of Mimic Ramp with PXG and Jubilee, so that kind of sidekick cycling thing was going on. Just pinging away, and then hopefully the idea was to pull a Blackbird out just when my opponent couldn't afford to pay for it, or put them in a position where they were saving energy every turn. So it wasn't too bad. We played 4 rounds. I went 2 wins, 2 losses, so dead centre there, which is fine. I saw some great combos, a lot of people playing around with the new Avengers Infinity, Kree Invasion, Justice Light Lightning cards, which was also nice to see. A lot of Kree Captain, very popular card. I saw a lot of Kree Captain actually, both for the global and the one that gets pumped up by other villains. A lot of stuff going on in that space there, yeah. One combo, my man Paul Fullwood, one combo that stood out to me that I'm going to take a closer look at myself. So Throne Brick Ramp's a thing, but Paul paired up his Throne Brick Ramp with the Boom Boom that deals 2 damage when an action is used.
Right.
So he was Throne Bricking his Boom Boom, obviously prepping the Throne Brick and a dice out of his bag, but then also dealing 2 damage. And that happened very fast. Boom Boom's a 2 cost, Throne Brick's a 2 cost, so got them out in the field. So by the time he'd got his actual win con together, which was... What was his win con? Oh, Danger Room and Kree Captain was what it was. Turning everything into a villain and making him massive. He'd already softened me up quite a bit with that early ping that I just wasn't ready for. But yeah, lots of the new stuff being played, which was fun. Yeah, and then for the Single Affiliation, I tried out some of the new Guardians of the Galaxy stuff again from the Kree Invasion and Avengers Infinity box, which was nice to experiment and play around with. Although I haven't quite found my rhythm with it yet. So yeah, that's me.
Wee wah.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I like the one particularly fun card in my Guardians team. There's a Rocket Raccoon that gets +1/+1 for every other attacking Guardians dice. Then there's a Cosmo Space Dog that gives +1 defense to all other Guardians. Then there's a Drax that gives +1/+1 to all your other Guardians. So at a certain point, my Rocket Raccoons were enormous. Just horrifying. The issue was in Single Affiliation, I didn't really have anything to drive them through, so I was just kind of smashing against my opponent's walls all the time. Also, I play with a lot of spammy, cheesy guys, apparently, who just, even in a fun Single Affiliation night, like to come down with the tune lists.
Steve Clegg.
Steve Clegg. Who went with the Avengers, the Wasp, a tuning Wasp. An Avengers ID card, which was really spammy and annoying.
Little known fact for the listeners, that Steve Clegg is actually a Somalian pirate, and that's why he gets his hands on all the cards first.
Yes, that's right. He goes out off the coast on his skiff, raids the shipping containers, gets the captain and his crew to open them all up, and takes 2 boxes of Dice Masters out.
I'll have 2 team packs of that. A couple of them dodgy Bears versus Babies, and I'll be back on the plane. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Steve Clegg. I've not forgiven you. I've not forgiven you, mate. I was salty as I was like, I've so lost interest in this game right now. I'm just watching you spam me. So yeah, there you go. There's my gaming life. Oh, I tell you what, we do need to do. We need to do the Who Are You this week.
Cool. Right, theme tune.
Yeah, drop it in now.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?
So any new listeners out there, we like to take a look at our stats, our podcast stats that show us where our listeners are, pick one out and see if anyone comes out the woodwork to get a shout out from us on the podcast. Last week we called out for, it was a UK based location. Where was it again, mate?
It was Harlow.
Yeah, Harlow in the UK. And this week we're sad to report is a Who Are You fail. Yes, that's right. Nobody came out the woodwork from Harlow to say hello. Anyway, onwards and upwards though. This week, because it's Halloween week, we've had a look through the stats and chosen a location that we feel fits nicely into a bit of a Halloween theme this week. So if you are one of our listeners in Salem, United States, one of Arthur Miller's favourite locations, of course, then drop us a line, go on the BritRoller6.com website, hit the contact us button, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Ministry of Dice. You can tweet me at BritRollerMr6. How else can they get in touch?
They can comment on our brand new YouTube channel.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, we're now putting the podcast out on YouTube also, so go and put a comment in there. But come and let us know who you are, and we'll give you a shout-out and a hello on our next episode.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the time, you might be a bit busy burning witches this week.
Yeah, that's true. Or being burnt.
Yeah, depending on your predilections.
Predilection, nice word.
Yeah, once again, though, have I used that right?
It doesn't matter. No one knows what it means anyway.
It doesn't matter. Well, yeah, if you're not burning witches or getting burnt,
whatever predilection that may be,
yeah, then give us a shout and we'll give you a hello on the next episode. Yeah, absolutely. So, listeners in Salem, let's hear from you. Absolutely. Okay, cool. There's the Who Are You. I don't think there's much else to talk about here. So, should we get into the content of the episode?
Let's talk about our YouTube channel.
All right, yeah, we've got a YouTube channel now.
We have. If you want to like our videos or subscribe to our channel, then you can do that. I've always wanted to say that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, at the moment, we're just using it as an alternative platform for putting the podcast content out. So if we're aware that some people aren't necessarily able to listen to audio, but perhaps in the home, with YouTube apps and whatnot on their smart TVs, might want to put it on in the background. That way, it's a direct replication of what's going out on the podcast feed, but just available for YouTube to see if we can't open it up to some new, well, I suppose you say viewers on YouTube, but it's listeners really, isn't it?
Yeah, because it is just the logo.
Yeah.
There's no footage. That's the right word, isn't it?
That is
footage,
the right word in this instance, yeah.
No footage, just wordage.
Yeah, absolutely. But spread the word if you know someone who's not into podcasts but might still want to listen and uses YouTube as much as a radio as they do a source of video content, then let them know and get them across. Or you can use it as another method of contacting us also, yeah. Cool. Right, okay, now let's talk about the episode, because this is one hell of an episode.
Oh, it's a corker. This
is a belter. We've kept this under wraps for a while. We have our next competitor on the Ministry of Dice, The Bar, and you really want to hang around for this one, because this competitor has got a lot of really interesting things to say about Dice Masters in the kind of preamble interview. Stick around for that. That's I don't even know what to say, but wait until you get to it. It's a tremendous segment. A great guest and a great competitor on the bar, and with some really interesting little nuggets of information about some upcoming releases that you might be interested to hear. Yeah, absolutely. So stick around for that. We've got a community focus coming up just after we finish this intro. We're just going to talk about an event that we're supporting in the UK. It's time for the next Ministry of Dice Presents Dice Masters event. So we'll put a bit of info out there, certainly for our UK crowd, to try and drum up some players. And then, as I say, it's Halloween week, so we've got a little bit of a Halloween-themed treat at the back end of the episode, and that will take us to the close. So I don't... is that it? Anything more for anything more?
I think that's it, mate.
That's it, yeah. Let's get on with the show.
This is London Calling. Here is the news.
Yes, folks, it's community-focused time. It's time for the news, and the big heads-up that we would like to give in this episode is the upcoming Gaming versus Cancer event taking place at Southampton University on the 10th of November. So, Gaming versus Cancer, just to give those a bit of context, that some might recall we talked about last year's Gaming versus Cancer event because a WKO was taking place there. This is a charitable event where gamers from all over the country descend on Southampton, where a variety of tournaments for lots of different games are taking place, and all the ticket entry fees go to cancer research charity that they're supporting. So not only is it a great sociable event and an opportunity to get together and play some awesome games, including Dice Masters, but it's also for a great cause. And they, over the last couple of years they've been running it, they've raised in tens of thousands of pounds, which I think is a tremendous achievement. Well done, Gaming versus Cancer. But this year it's got a little bit of a different flavour because the Dice Masters event is not only a Gaming versus Cancer casual tournament, it's being sponsored by the Ministry of Dice and will be the Southern Ministry of Dice Presents Dice Masters event. Ooh.
Exciting. How exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone listening who's not aware, we have stepped into the realms of organising events on our little island. We like to feel that we bring a little bit of a different flavour to those events. The first thing to point out is that it's going to be Swiss only. We'll be playing 6 rounds of Swiss. And there's some thinking behind that, isn't there, Andy?
Yes, yeah. The idea is that everyone gets to play all day. So there's no top cuts. There's no, I get to play a few games, then get knocked out. You get a full day's worth of gaming, regardless if you come first or if you come last.
Yeah.
There's no people disappearing off before the end. So, the person who wins it has like 2 people and a dog to cheer them on. So everyone will still be there because everyone wants to wait for their prizes.
Yes,
which
I'll
we'll
talk
get
about
to in a moment. But yeah, it's a full day's game, and it's not something that's going to kind of end at lunchtime for you. If you come to play, you'll get 6 rounds. So that's 18 games maximum. So you're going to get a hell of a lot of gaming in, lots of Dice Masters, and hopefully lots of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that prizing then. The Ministry of Dice Presents events prizing is organised in a slightly different way as well. We have a first prize, a second prize, a fellowship prize, and a last place commiseration prize. Those are highly sought after, coveted items, might I add as well. However, what we also do is we run the True Mr. 6 Mystery Prize Raffle. Ooh, that's 2 excited oohs in this bit. Yeah, so what I like to do is I like to get together some merchandise and some Dice Masters related bling, get it in my mystery prize box and pop a raffle ticket on it all. And then every game won on the day earns you a raffle ticket so that you can have a rummage in my box and take one of my mystery prizes.
Rummage in your box.
Yeah, everybody loves a rummage in True Mr. 6's box. So the thinking behind that is you could be having a pretty bad day. Yeah, you're not winning many games, but do you know what? Just winning a couple still means that you've got the opportunity to walk away with a little bit of swag. So on top of the fact that we've got a full day's play and you're going to get loads and loads of games of Dice Masters in and have a lot of fun hanging out with a great community of people supporting a great cause, but there'll be some awesome swag to take away. The swag this time round is also being bolstered by some donations, some prize donations that have been given to us from various sources as well. So the standard set of stuff in there, we've got some Ministry of Dice themed Dice Masters merchandise, there's playmats, there's dice bags, there's Zen bins, we've got classic 1980s superhero cartoon DVDs, we've got graphic novels, we've got all loads of superhero D&D Turtles related kind of ephemera in the box, but it's also being bolstered by some great additions. And I think we can mention the first couple of contributors, maybe. I know a few people aren't ready to be announced yet, but Element Games, my local store, for example, they've been kind enough to donate some Dice Masters boosters. They've given me a gift voucher for a £10 gift voucher for their web store, some team packs and stuff to chuck into the raffle, which I think are tremendous prizes. The guys over at Dice Mayhem, as well as some of my locals over at Element Games, have contributed and donated some Very hard to find promo cards, actually. There's some belters in this bundle here. We ourselves have put some stuff in, so you might have seen some of the Ministry of Dice themed basic action cards and dice and counters and whatnot in there. Our friend Zach from Dice Masters with James and Zach has contributed some of his, what's the name? Easy Laserworks, I think, is his Etsy store, and he's contributed some of his laser cut accessories, Dice Masters bling to that. And our friend Darren over at DZ Dungeon has contributed some Ministry of Dice mod pods to the prize pool as well.
Limited edition ones as well.
Yeah, limited edition, yeah. So in colours that made in colours that aren't available in the shop, with symbols that aren't available in the shop as well. So already quite a prestigious prize pool with loads of useful stuff, not just any old tat. That's not to say previous Ministry of Dice Presents events have been tat prizes.
Tatty.
Yeah, lots to play for, and trust me, folks, while we're not quite ready to announce just yet, there are also some other tremendous prizes on the way that are being contributed by some very generous folk from various stores and institutions around the country. Oh, and also a special thanks to our man Matt Jourdain over at DM North as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's for the prize mat. Prize play mat.
Yeah, that's one of the ones we weren't supposed to mention yet.
Okay. Why are we saying thank you to Matt then?
Well, because of the basic action cards.
Oh, yeah, he helped us to make them fit properly on the thing. Ignore me. I didn't mention
hot dog.
Play mat.
Hot dog.
Shh. We're throwing something into the prize pool as well, aren't we? We are giving one lucky individual the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh, you mean you must be talking about the superhero Blu-rays that I went to the shop for the other day?
No, something more exciting than that. We are giving one person the honour, nay, the privilege of being a contender on the bar.
Did we say the bar, or did we say they were going to be in a quiz-off against me?
Hey, do you know what? Whoever wins it,
their choice. I mean, that's probably the most prestigious prize of them all, really, to be fair.
I know.
And you and I know what some of the other prizes that are coming as well.
I know. Yeah. There's some good stuff coming. We don't want to kind of let you know yet. I think it's best until they're safely with us before we get anyone too excited. We don't want to prematurely do something.
Yeah, pop our load and then not be able to follow through.
Yeah, that's what I was like, I can't say those kind of words. And then you just went and said them anyway.
Why can't you say them?
Because it's innuendo.
There's no innuendo to that.
This is serious, man. This is for charity.
For charity, mate.
Yeah, this is serious. It's nearly swore. Let's move on. I'm struggling with words.
Serious shizzle.
Exactly, Manizzle.
Yeah, so if you're an international listener, clearly it'll be a challenge for you to get across to Southampton.
Do it anyway.
Although, of course, you're more than welcome. Yeah, the university's not very far from Southampton Airport. You're more than welcome to come along, of course, if you want to come along. But we are putting a call out there. One of the things in the UK that is often a challenge for us is promo cards. You know, not all promos make their way over to this country. We're particularly interested in the Sidekick event, you know, the Sidekick training night, the what was the name of the promo card now? The one that boosted.
Oh yeah, I didn't think we got any of them.
We didn't see any of those in the United Kingdom yet. We're also very thin on the ground on stuff like Exiles, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. From about the Deadpool family set, things have been a bit thin on the ground over here in the UK. So if you've got any odds and sods spares promos knocking around, drop me a PM. If you need some help with the postage costs, because I know it can be quite expensive over there, then give me a shout. Please do give us a shout ASAP if you're able to pop something in there. We also didn't see a lot of the D&D promos, particularly the draft ones. So there's not
Strahd, was that?
Yes, that's right, my man. So not many of those over here on these shores. They would just really help out. They're very prestigious. They will help us attract some more players come along who might be wavering on the fence. So you can help out that way. We're also accepting cash donations if you want to just chuck something in. I'll pop the link on the BritRoller6.com blog to the donation page over at eventbrite.co.uk.
Cool.
So yeah, if you're in a position to help out, you've got an abundance of spares, particularly of those harder to find promos that we didn't see a lot of over this side of the water, then please do jump in and help out, and you'll get a thank you and a mention on the podcast, which I'm sure is worth it.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you are going, you get the opportunity. You may well get to play against either myself or Chris or both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll beat one of us and get beaten by the other.
Oh, But which way round would that be?
Yeah, come along and find out.
Charlotte will be TOing like she has the last couple of years.
Yeah, hi Charlotte.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
frees us up to play. It's golden escalation. Not sure if we mentioned that.
It's global escalation.
It is
Do you know I've noticed?
golden escalation.
Yeah, I've noticed you doing that a lot lately. You keep saying golden escalation.
That's what it is, isn't it?
No, it's called global escalation.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, golden escalation makes more sense.
Yeah, I know, because it's golden card pool, isn't it? I get why. I get what's going on in your head around that.
But I was wrong. Global escalation.
Mm.
So that's cool. So if Central European Nats passed you by, and you wanted to have a go at that at a competitive level, then we'll certainly be competing at Gaming versus Cancer.
Yeah, absolutely. So 10th of November, University of Southampton. Information can be found on the UK Dice Masters page, or if you go over to the Ministry of Dice page, you'll see I've been posting over there. Or you can go to eventbrite.co.uk, and if you search for Gaming vs Cancer, you'll see all the events that's taking place. I mean, even if Dice Masters isn't what you want to play, come along and, I don't know, play Netrunner or get involved in the pandemic thing, because it's a great cause anyway. Although, obviously, the prizing's better for the MOD PDM. Hey,
Yeah.
rolling off the tongue. See how quickly I did that?
MOD PDM. I like
MOD PDM.
MODO's better. Moder
What's the O stand for, though?
Open. It's like a play on words, like WizKids Open.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
Ministry of Dice Open.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there. All right, we'll discuss that one off air and see where we come down. Yeah, come along. We've had a North of England event, we've had a Central England event, and now it's time for one in the South. And what a great cause for it to be contributing to too. So we'd love to see you. Get your hotel booked, arrange your travel, and come play some Dice Masters with us on the 10th of November.
See you there.
Yes, welcome back, dear listener. And once again, have we got a treat for you. I know we only just had guest appearance on our last episode with a bar quiz, but we've got one today because we just couldn't wait to get this out there. The legend of his flowing locks have reached us even on these very shores. We've got WizKids' own Jimmy Darwin O'Brien, product manager and Lord and Master of all things Dice Masters. Woo!
Glad to be here, guys. Thank you for the flattering intro.
Yeah, see, what the listeners don't know is we've just had what we call our pre-production conversation, otherwise known as a chat before we start recording. And Jimmy said, oh, no, go all humble, just call me the product manager. And I did it to him anyway. All things Dice Masters, because, Jimmy, you may not know this, but as far as I'm concerned, you are somewhat of a legend in this community.
Well, thank you. But, I couldn't do it without the rest of the team, people doing graphic design, Mike Elliott and Eric Lang doing the cards. So I'm just the glue guy, right?
Listen to that, the consummate professional. Well, Jimmy, me and Andy are super excited to have you on. Thank you so very much for coming and joining us today. Remind me, you're out on the East Coast. What's the weather like out there for you at the minute?
It's been chilly the last few days, but before that it was like 80 degrees because the weather here can't really make up its mind. So who knows what it's going to be by the weekend.
Yeah, it's been random the world over right now. It's like that Crowded House song, 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Well, get the walls out and you'll be ready, because the East Coast gets cold, doesn't it?
Yeah. We get snow, we get ice. We get just not going to the office some days when it gets real bad. So there's somewhat of an upside here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to my point about you being a bit of a community legend, so the US players who attend events will know you as a name and a face, because you often run the community. I don't know what you call it. I forget the name. Community relations presentations, don't you?
Oh, the fan appreciation event at Origins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the phrase. So we often hear about you. You're like this mysterious figure who turns up with PowerPoint presentations of amazing spoilers and answers everyone's questions.
The amazing spoiler man. Yeah.
But it's great to put a voice to the name and get a conversation with you today. We've got a few questions to ask, and we'll get into some really serious Dice Masters business in a second. But to get to the most important question, we met a couple of colleagues of yours, Jimmy, at the UK Games Expo, Chris and Kenny. Mm-hmm. And in our conversation with Chris, we pitched a bit of an idea. We fielded a bit of an idea about a Ministry of Dice team pack product, which Chris seemed very excited about and was very encouraging of, and said, that's the thing.
Sounds like Chris, yeah.
Yeah. that's a thing we can do, he said. Yeah, absolutely. He felt like there'd be a lot of interest worldwide in a Ministry of Dice team pack. And, there's not much happening with that. I just wanted to sort of touch base. What are your thoughts on the MOD team pack?
I mean, as Dice Masters players are often aware, there are delays or something that we can experience. And the Ministry of Dice team pack is no different, right? Sometimes the licensor gets in the way. Sometimes there's trouble in China. Who knows what could be keeping this held up for right now. So.
Okay. Well, so we're here. Me and Andy are here. Like, I'll just reoffer if you need any help with the design of those cards, or any images. I can send you some. My mum's got some old pictures of me as a kid that she thought you guys might like to use.
Are those the better pictures of you, the kid pics?
All pictures of me, great pictures, Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm extremely photogenic. I mean, not as photogenic as your good self, of course. Actually, talking of pictures, one thing, you may not be able to answer this, and by all means take a pass if you are unable to answer it. But one thing, me and Andy, we were talking about the WWE license that you guys secured and were promoting a couple of months back. One thing we were curious about, is there an intention to do artwork, or are you guys going to be using photograph images on those cards? Do you know that yet?
So it's one of those things that we have a plan, and when we send things into the license, things might get better, they might change, and so I don't want to do a confirmation on that yet. I think once people get to see the previews of the cards for the first time is when the best time to know that's what it's really going to look like.
Fair play, Governor. Fair play.
Yeah.
Side you with that one for sure, but yeah, we were speculating about it in the episode, weren't we? Are you a WWE fan yourself, Jimmy?
Yeah, I actually watched it a lot as a kid, and then when I was a little bit older, there was a card game, Raw Deal. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about that, but I was a faithful Raw Deal player with a lot of people at my local store. And so then years later, here I'm at WizKids, and Zev, who's actually in charge of our board games, was somebody who had worked on Raw Deal. And Justin, when we were having dinner at Origins one time, is super excited to kind of make this introduction, and so we can reminisce about it. But the memories that you have as a player of a game, and the in-depth, gritty card knowledge versus the person who worked on that alongside a dozen other projects are totally different. And Zev was so guilty, oh well, I don't quite remember it that well. I'm so sorry. It's no, I get it. It happens, right? I don't have every Dice Masters card memorized. I get it. But yeah, no. So big wrestling fan. WWE was actually kind enough to hook us up with some tickets to go see SummerSlam, and so I got to go see that with one of my coworkers in Brooklyn, and that was a fun show.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of excitement. We've got some guys over here in the UK, big WWE fans, who've been all over Facebook squeeing excitedly about the upcoming product. But of course, that's not the only piece of upcoming product to get excited about, is it?
No, it's not. So Warhammer Dice Masters is coming out soon, and I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of combat tricks going on, and so part of what people enjoyed about draft play, as far as picking the cards with the right tricks and stuff like that, gets replicated in the box set, which is nice. It's a mix of characters we've never seen at Dice Masters before, which is nice. I'm eager to see what kind of new faces are showing up to play at game stores that they want to try it out because it's Warhammer, and maybe that's all there is for them. Maybe they get into the competitive play like you guys and the people that I end up meeting at Origins are. Maybe it just does something to make brand new local communities. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But then I think most of those cards have been spoiled at this point, right? You guys probably track online what's known and what's not, right?
Yes, we absolutely do. So our friends at the Dice Coalition and Steve over at the DM Armada YouTube channel, I suppose I'm saying this more for the listeners than for yourself, Jimmy. Those guys have got lots of content in relation to the Warhammer 40k box set. So make sure you get over to there, tell them we sent you, and check out what they've got going on. But we're especially excited about 40k over here.
Yeah, it's local.
Yeah, absolutely. We feel a little bit of a sense of I don't know, a bit of Rule Britannia ownership over this one, and certainly, as you just mentioned, I've been talking it up because my FLGS has a big Games Workshop fan base. They play a lot of the Games Workshop games in store. It's not unusual, actually, on our regular Tuesday night when we're playing Dice Masters to have the Blood Bowl guys just kind of off to the left of us, where in the rows of tables. And so I'm certain it's going to generate a lot of interest. You're a massive 40k fan, aren't you, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, that was what got me into gaming. I started as a small kid, kind of going into because there's a Games Workshop store in most towns and cities over here. So we have one pretty much wherever you go on holiday or in your local town. And I've collected and painted since kind of 9-10 years old. And so the match up between the two is phenomenal. Really looking forward to it. And as Chris said, there's players of Warhammer 40k. Probably the majority of gamers either started off doing it or predominantly do that as their hobby. So it's got the potential to really draw in a lot of gamers into playing Dice Masters. And I've been to a few local game stores and they're really looking forward to getting it in and playing it. So yeah, really excited, really excited.
Yeah, and like I don't know if this is obvious or inside baseball or what, but when you kind of look at the abilities that are in the Warhammer set, as far as like range, for example, or the frag stuff, it kind of opens the mind a little bit for newer players that they get to see, like when I have something that gets to eliminate blockers, or I have something that gets to eliminate attackers, that's really good. And so then as they kind of expand their collection and they start getting into other things, it's kind of obvious to them at first glance, wow, Magic Missile's really good. And I could probably use it in one of these two different ways. And so I think that cards like that are exciting because, sure, it might not be the first card some new player picks out of the box and plays their first demo game with, but they're not going to go too long without giving it a test run. And it kind of helps them expand their universe. So I think that's one of the nice things about the box set. There's probably other good examples of that in starter product that's come out before, but that's not the freshest thing in my head because we put out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sure. Well, the best example I can think of is competitive players immediately cottoned on to the power of Shriek in the Maximum Carnage team pack.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I think when people kind of look at it, it's funny that Shriek Dark Empathy is kind of almost a red herring because people had memory of, wow, wasn't Prismatic Spray super good? That people slam down Prismatic Spray and just push and get a win a lot of the time. And then here we have Prismatic Spray and a body for the same cost, which should be amazing. And instead it's like, oh, wait, I'm going to have to choose the other version. And like, granted, that's one of the trade-offs of Dice Masters, but still a little bit of a surprise for the seasoned fan who could spot a good card.
Well, Jimmy, I've got to tell you, mate, I've got bitter feelings towards your guys about the 3-crossed Shrieks on it beam.
You're not the only one, but
I'm a fan of Dark
Empathy. People unhappy.
Let's just not. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it. It'd be rude to start laying into you about Shrieks on it beam.
However,
I'm actually
Dark Empathy, that was on your team for Nationals, wasn't it? You'd love that,
mate.
card.
Absolutely, yeah. I love Dark Empathy. I comboed her up, Jimmy, with the Collector.
Yeah, it's really good.
So just locking down my opponent on their turn by collecting in the Dark Empathy and just blanking the game text, and then collecting in whatever I wanted really on my turn to get that damage through.
Right, but so it's funny that you say it that way, right? You're like, oh well, I use this other one because of this other card that I'm using, and I think there's some people who they reach a level of being good, but like not a level of like high mastery with the game, and their interpretation shifts from like, oh, what we say in the rule book is right, of you want to pick the different version for whatever your style or your team is, to never mind, there's actually one that's definitively the best. And then like once you actually level up like all the way, now you're back in that mode of, wait, no, it does matter which one that I pick depending on my situation. And so I think that's cool as far as going in and out of the learning experience.
There you go, Andy. Jimmy thinks I'm cool.
Yep.
I think getting a load of dum-dums and a Grod out to see it get flipping blanks just before my attack step was anything but cool.
Not from my perspective, bro. Not from my perspective. So, Jimmy, just to get back on track from that little tangent, I'm a massive comic book nerd. Regular listeners have heard me go on all sorts of comic book lore tangents and things. And I'm super excited about Justice particularly because I'm a huge DC fan. And also I used to read a lot of the Rob Liefeld X-Men back in the 90s when I was a teenager. What can you tell us about those upcoming products?
So if you look at what happened with Avengers Infinity, and if you look at what's about to happen with Warhammer, there's not a lot of flexibility as far as the team building is concerned. That basically you have two, teams of 8 characters that you can kind of smash against each other, and you can trade heroes and villains between the teams, or Imperium and Chaos between the teams if you're okay with that. But these upcoming team boxes or campaign boxes have a bigger selection of characters and fewer dice on some people. And so you get a lot more flexibility. You can say, well, I want this version of the Justice League against this version of the Legion of Doom. And if you just want to switch it up for the sake of switching it up, you can do that. If you kind of realize like, hey, I didn't get to access my Bizarro die that much, maybe I swap him out for Black Manta, like that's something you can do. The optionality is just a lot deeper and lends itself. I think you probably have about the same amount of replay value, but the replay feels significantly different with this wider selection of characters. And like not everyone's going to have 3 cards. Some people are going to have 2. But like, hey, how different is 1 7 cost Bizarro versus 1 6 cost Bizarro versus a second copy of one of those? And so it kind of flexes the strength of the format versus just doing something similar to Turtles, which is kind of the inspiration for the product in a lot of ways.
That sounds really exciting, actually. But all I heard there was, right, so we've got a Bizarro, a Black Manta, there's Legion of Doom affiliation.
Yeah.
One of the Bizarros is 7 cost.
I don't think I'm telling you anything that the product page didn't reveal already, but yeah, go with that as a spoiler, I guess, you know?
Oh, boo. Them Dice Coalition. Punch. No, that sounds really interesting. That does sound really interesting. Can you speak to the dice counts in the box?
I definitely possess that information somewhere, but I do not have it in front of me. It's going to be the same situation that if you buy 2, you end up with the max dice for everybody. But again, in most cases, it's not that you desperately need 4 dice of most of these characters for a competitive team. I understand like there's the completionists out there that like no, they got to have it because they got to have it. But if you're getting 1 copy of someone's die, they're going to be max 2. If you're getting 3 copies of someone's die, they're not going to be max 7 or something. Everything's kind of in that same format of 2 boxes get you the most dice you would ever need.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for answering that, Jimmy. Superb. And anything on the X-Men, the Dark X-Men, you can let us know about?
So Dark X-Men and X-Force are both going to introduce some new mechanics. And I think one of the things that's cool about, and I think it's a little bit true of Justice, but I think it's very true of the X-Men stuff, is we're going to see spins on characters that we haven't seen before. We've seen both aggressive and defensive versions of Wonder Woman, but we haven't really seen Rogue functioning as a team leader on the tabletop, right? We've seen like Rogue as like the power drain, power copy person. And so I think that's a cool switch up. There's a lot of different ways to show Wolverine as an aggressive guy, but we're going to see something brand new there. Characters we haven't seen before are going to be reminding you of beloved designs that we've seen in other areas, right? So Madeline Pryor has some of that dark mysticism stuff going on, and so if she reminds you a little bit of some of the D&D designs, that only makes sense, and like that's part of what I think people enjoy about Dice Masters so much. I also think that if you take a look at characters who are like been sometimes leaders of the X-Men, like Kitty Pryde, you're going to see team building, cohesion, leadership ideas on her that are really different from what you've seen on other like team building leadership type characters. But at the same time, you're just kind of like, oh, like this flavor makes sense. I'm so into it. And like when I read these cards for the first time, my reaction was, I can't wait to play games with these. And it's not just a case of like, oh, I think I'm going to go pound somebody in the face with these cards. It's just like, oh, I know that I'm going to learn more about them by actually putting in the reps and getting to see kind of how the bag flow works, how the fielding costs play out for real and stuff like that. So it was just a really great time to get to sit down and finally play with these cards for the first time.
That's super intriguing. That's juicy stuff. I've got every curious cat sense going off right now about that stuff.
Yeah,
Madeline Pryor.
It's really exciting just hearing about how you explain it more as a kind of playing out a story as opposed to just literally bashing each other in the face, but actually kind of creating I know in Warhammer they use the phrase kind of creating a narrative, actually kind of sitting down with the Justice League or X-Force, which would be exciting because I've got an X-Force team which could do with some help. But
the X-Force stuff is really cool. So I don't want to give away the keyword or the mechanic or anything like that. But if you look at your average Dice Masters die, I think it's fair for you to think about it in terms of half the die is good and your character faces, and half the die is subpar. That math is going to change a lot, and it's not going to be anything like you've seen even in Couriers. That's as far as I can go with that. We might be able to preview a little bit more at PAX. I think that might be the right timetable to keep your eyes open. So that's what I'm going to say on that.
All right. Wow. Okay. We need to. Somebody out there will know be going to PAX. You'll have to. We'll get an inside man on that one. That's so exciting. Jimmy, thanks. That's great. I'm very excited about both Justice, because I'm a DC fan, as I said before, but the X-Men stuff sounds really juicy and intriguing for sure. But anyway, let's all that's just nonsense, because let's get down to the real business.
Sure.
Because not only have you come along to have a bit of an interview style chat with us today, but you're here to lay down a score on the Ministry of Dice's The Bar contest, Jimmy.
Okay, I'm going to do my best.
Oh, I'm sure your best will be extraordinary. So we have a little bit of a theme tune. I'm going to drop that in here now in the edit. Excellent. And I'm going to hand over to my man Andy to get us set up for the quiz.
Okie doke. So, the Ministry of Dice, The Bar. So you'll have 2 minutes of quick fire questions. If you give me the correct answer, I will say correct. If you give me the wrong answer, I will give you the correct answer. If you want to play a bit tactical, save a bit of time, you can pass, and I'll move straight on to the next question. Your specialist subject that you gave us is on global abilities. So I've taken that and got the questions ready. So if Chris is ready with his bit of paper and his timer.
Yes, I have a pencil, I have an old envelope, and I have my mobile phone ready to run the time. Jimmy, I'll give you a shout at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and 10 seconds.
Okay.
So I'll just yell out randomly. So if Andy, are you ready?
I am ready.
Jimmy, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay then, gents, your 2 minutes start now.
Okay, anger issues global. Pay what to give character dice +1 attack?
It's pay a fist.
Correct. ASM Agent Venom global. Pay fist to give target character die what?
+1 defense.
Correct. Uncommon Batgirl. Protecting innocence from the Green Arrow and Flash set stops your opponent from targeting what with global abilities?
Your Batgirl character dice.
Oh, close. It's your mask characters.
Okay.
UXM Cable. Pay what to deal 1 damage to target enemy character and make it block that turn? Oh, correct. Okay, so when Carnage, unfinished business, is in your field, what does your opponent have to do to use a global ability in your turn?
Pay 2 life.
Oh, it's close. It's pay 2 extra energy.
Okay.
In the Green Arrow and Flash set, which
1 minute.
character has the mask energy fixing global?
It's not Merlin. It's not Grodd. It's Clayface.
Correct. Dick Grayson from World's Finest Global. Pay mask character die gains what?
Batman affiliation.
Correct. We all love abbreviations. Professor X Global is known as PXG. Blue Eyes Global is also known as Bude. What is the commonly used abbreviation for Heimdall's Global?
HXG.
Correct.
Yes.
Hellas Global has a hell of a cost. What is the cost of Hellas Global?
6.
Correct. Iron Man Tinhead from the Age of Ultron. Pay Bolt target character die gains what to the end of turn?
Villain.
Correct. What is from the Mighty 4 set? What action has the mask energy fixing global?
Billy Club.
Correct. AVX Magneto Global. Pay mask to re-roll what type of die?
Villain.
Correct. Fill in the blank. Motorcycle Vroom from Deadpool. Pay fist, remove target blank. Character die from the attack zone.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's blocked.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds like that was time.
Is that time, Dick?
Yes, that was time. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Wow. Okay.
Good.
Okay, so I actually have some global ability questions for you guys. I wasn't sure what the format was going to be like, and so to try and keep things not impossibly hard, they're multiple choice questions.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
What? Okay.
Okay. So I've got I guess two multiple choice questions and then one open ended question. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So either one of you who thinks you know the answer, you can chime in. If the one to come in second wants to agree or propose their own, that's fine. So
tables on our own podcast.
okay. So
Well, we're game. We love a good quiz. Bring it on.
okay. So I'm going to name 4 team affiliations, and you're going to tell me which team affiliation has no character dice with global abilities on them.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got Stark Industries.
Right.
We've got Green Lanterns. We've got Shield, and we've got JSA.
I'm just racking through. Have you got any ideas, Andy? I'm pretty certain Stark has got a global.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Justice League. Was it Justice League?
Justice Society America.
Oh.
Not that many Justice Society cards yet. Who's in Justice Society? So it was Black Canary.
Jay Garrick is one.
Jay Garrick, yeah.
That's my only knowledge.
There was one of it was Stargirl, JSA. Yeah, I'm going to say JSA. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have got a global as well. I feel like, yeah, I'm going JSA.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Okay, that's correct. Yep, JSA is correct.
Yes.
Okay, so Hela is the most expensive global ability. So this is going to be the open-ended one here. So Hela is the most expensive global ability at 6, right? Now, once we jump down from 6, the next most expensive global abilities would only cost you 2 energy, but one of them costs you 2 different energy. What global ability is that?
Oh,
Star Labs.
Yeah, Star Labs.
Star
maybe.
Labs. Yep, Star Labs is correct. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to name 3 different team affiliations. I'd like you guys to tell me which one has the most global abilities across all of their character cards. So if there's 2 versions with that's going to count twice. Okay?
Right, okay.
So we've got Justice League,
Yeah.
Legion of Doom,
Okay.
and X-Men.
Which one's got the most?
The most global abilities.
X-Men's got PXG, so it should automatically win.
I thought, just momentary patented Chris tangent. I was super impressed that you got the HXG question. Right, let me have a think about this. I'm just trying to picture cards in my head. What were the 3 again? Sorry, Jimmy.
Justice League, Legion of Doom, and X-Men.
I think it's X-Men.
There are, I think, just Justice League have got a few though. Oh no, maybe they haven't.
Oh, they have. Well, Batman, I think.
No, so I don't think Batman did. I think it was the War of Light Batman that had the global on it, and he was a Yellow Lantern, and then the other later Batmans were Bat Family, weren't? So what did you think it was, Andy?
I think it's X-Men.
Yeah, let's go with Andy with X-Men.
X-Men is right. That's the Batman thing is exactly why it seemed like a tricky question. There's so many Batman, but only one version of him is actually a Justice League guy with a global.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. Okay, so then the impossible to answer question,
Oof.
right, is going to be once we release the Justice box set. Is that still true?
Whoa. Well, so Legion of Doom and Justice League, I'm going to make an assumptive leap here to say that those are going to be 2 prominent affiliations in the Justice box set.
You'd be right to say that.
Yeah. Oof. I'm going to have a guess. I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say Legion of Doom.
I don't think that was that the question.
So the question is, do either of these 2 affiliations pass out in front of X-Men after release Justice box set?
Oh yeah, go on.
Yes.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Okay, they actually don't. X-Men actually just has a ton of global abilities across all the different cards. Because you've got Professor X, you've got Iceman, you've got Kitty Pryde global, which I almost forgot about. Storm, all 3 versions of AVX Phoenix have the Taunt global. Cable and Uncanny has his Ping global. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. But so I'm going to read you guys these global abilities and not tell you what cards they go to.
No, you can't do that. Oh no!
Cool.
Oh, Jimmy.
Would you rather know who had the globals but not know what they were?
No, I'd rather know what the globals are.
Yeah, right. That's like the snap answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got somebody here. So global pay a mask once per turn. You may take a die from your used pile and add it to your reserve pool on any energy face.
That's cool.
Holy moly!
Is that a bit like Ring, isn't it? Old Ring.
But I think Ring can only grab sidekick dice. This can grab any of your dice and put it in as energy.
Wow, that's nice.
Pretty wild.
Decide on a character.
Any energy face. So it's if you got some tricks to re-roll it or something, I mean that's on you. But that's combo intensive. I mean parallax and golden, right? But it's living on globals, right? So your opponent can just do it to you anyway. Okay, so we got this next global. Pay a shield. Switch a character die's attack and defense until end of turn.
It's a classic.
Classic, right? But it's any characters. It's not just yours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's a little upgraded. Okay. We've got a global. Pay 2 masks. Target character die can block an additional character die this turn.
Oh, nice. 2 masks.
Yep, 2 masks. I've got a brand new. I think this is brand new. Global here, so pay a fist. Once per turn, on your turn, spin target character die up 1 level. So I don't think it's as good as the Giganta one that we've seen, but it is, if you only want to spend fist to do something so your opponent's locked out or whatever, it might be a good alternative.
Yeah, fist-centric teams.
And I think this is the wildest one, so I've saved it for last. So pay 2 masks. Once on your turn, you may remove a die on any card from the game. You may not remove the last die on the card.
For good.
Wait, what? Say that again.
So you're going to pay 2 masks, and once on your turn, you may remove a die on any card from the game. You may not remove the last die on the card.
Oh my word!
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, I'm just trying to think that one through.
That's some shenanigans, isn't it?
So the dice would go back in the cleanup, wouldn't it?
No, hasn't it been removed from the game?
No, it just gone.
But it's a global, so your opponent can do it too.
So your opponent can do it too, yeah. But they can't. No one can take your last copy of something. So if you only have one of something on your team, it's just safe. But yeah, it's.
Oh, can you imagine a global escalation team with multiple man swarm going off with that bad boy?
Yeah, it could be wild. But like, I don't know. A lot of teams can function off of 1 copy or 2 copies of their very best dice. So it's a tough race.
I'm already
and get in there.
Does Black Adam put both players' dice back on the card when they're KO'd, or just your opponents?
Well, you can hear the cogs turning in his head. He's already trying to work out.
Yeah. I'd have to look up that version of Black Adam.
I've already got. I've just gone straight into janky combo mode there with those. That last one's really intriguing, Jimmy. Wow!
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so very much, man. That's super exciting. Right, I'm going to promo in the living hell.
To be here. It gives people a little something in particular to look forward to at PAX. I hope, right? Finding out what these characters are.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't. Wow, Jimmy, do you want to know your score? How well you did in the?
So how many questions were there? Like, I didn't get to all of them, right? Because there have to be some left over.
Yeah, there are. I always kind of panic that I haven't done enough, but we did do. But so the score, what is?
So there were 13 questions asked in total.
Right.
Okay.
And Jimmy answered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah, 10's a solid score. It's a solid score, Jimmy. That'll put you floating in and around the top 5-ish, if I remember correctly.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Wow. Jimmy, thank you so very much for those cheeky little spoiler globals. That's super exciting stuff, and I know that'll get the listeners talking. Thank you for competing in the bar as well, man.
My pleasure.
We love having people on and giving us a bit of conversation before around the upcoming product there.
Always welcome back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it. Maybe next time I actually like have big news or something, right? Maybe we can work something out.
Well, we'd love that. We'd absolutely love that. In the meantime, though, folks, that's thank you from the Ministry of Dice to Jimmy for coming along. Let's get some chatter going on the Facebook page around those globals that he's given us a sneaky peek at, and a few of the names he dropped, the card titles he dropped in there, although I think we've probably figured those out from the dice images, and we'll move on to the next segment. Thanks, Jimmy. That was great.
My pleasure.
Hey, Andy.
Yes, mate.
Have you noticed what the date is?
What is the date? It's the 29th.
Yeah, 29th of October. You know what's happening in 2 days' time, don't you?
Halloween.
Halloween, the All Hallows Eve.
Oh, that's scary.
Was that scary? Well, I did try. You know, it's Halloween. But, you know, on the subject of scary, do you know what? It's been scary long since we've done one of our patented Ministry of Dice top 10 countdowns.
Let's best do one now.
Let's do one now then, shall we? Let's get into it. What do you call a wizard who lies on the floor, Andy?
I don't know.
Matt. At number 10, it's Master Spellcaster. Our entry at number 9's favourite dance is the Fandango. It's Unliving Vampire. Our 8th entry is the calmest of the bunch. I mean, seriously, man, nothing gets under this guy's skin. It's Skeletal Warrior. Our 7th pick is almost as scary as a trip to my mother-in-law's, and definitely as ugly. It's the Terrifying Lich. Speaking of the mother-in-law, at our 6th position we have Witch Woman. No one is more dedicated than our card at number 5. It's the best of all zombies, Paragon Undead. Coming in at number 4, if you need to know how to stay safe this Halloween, this lady will provide a demonstration. It's Angela, Hunter of Demons. What's that in the cupboard? What's that under the stairs? What's that under the bed? Why, it's our 3rd entrant, some manner of monster. At number 2, we have a title with a distinctly 50s pulpy science fiction movie vibe. It's the monster from Planet X. And finally, in the top spot, you're all sweaty and awake in the middle of the night, and it's not for the good reason. Our pick of the pops for the MOD Halloween Top 10 is Night Terrors. Well, folks, what a belter of an episode. I know, no longer is it hashtag get Jimmy and Justin on the MOD. It's now hashtag get Justin on the MOD.
One down.
Yeah, one down. One to go. Absolutely. Our sincere thanks to Jimmy for coming along and getting involved. Also for answering a few questions about the game and giving us a few little cheeky tidbits, some juicy tidbits.
Oh,
some
globals.
Yeah, that double mass global. That's a curious one. That really got my wheels a turning thinking about that, but also dropping some hints as to what characters we're going to see and giving us a bit of a flavour as how they've kind of come to create the box and what kind of... I like the way he was talking about that sort of the narrative, how the cards sort of play around the narrative of the character. So thanks, Jimmy. Really grateful that you came along, and we'd love to have you back. Come on anytime.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you're in the UK, 10th of November, get yourself to the Ministry of Dice Presents event at Gaming vs. Cancer to win yourself some exclusive swag and to get a good hard day's play in on Dice Masters. If you're in Salem...
You want to do some call-outs for any of the groups around the country?
Nah, just, if you're in the UK, get your ass down there.
See you then.
See you then. We'll be back in 2 weeks. In the meantime, I've been Chris, otherwise known as Louis Tully.
And I've been Andy, a.k.a. Sticky Bandit.
See you in 2 weeks, folks.
Bye.
otherwise, though. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, very good. Sorry, I didn't laugh more.
Yeah, you should have been. These jokes are f***ing hilarious. They're not dad jokes at all. You should have been rolling around.